Hey, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're the Rambling Reviewers.
And I'm Deadpool! No, not really. I can't do a Deadpool voice. I need Deadpool to... I'm Deadpool.
No, I know that would be the perfect thing for this review, but we're not good enough for that. We could be if we practice.
So who's that first guy voice? That's Deadpool impersonating Cables. That's what that is.
Okay, well, as you might have guessed, we're doing a review of Deadpool.
The movie of 2016. The only movie thus far of Deadpool, but... Hey, he made a good jump to the big screen, didn't he?
By all rights, this film should have crashed and burned.
I mean, I wasn't expecting it to burn because I thought it's weird enough that somebody who cares about Deadpool is going to be in charge of this.
Yeah, but the Deadpool movie has been in development hell for years.
Oh, yeah?
Plus, Deadpool's the very staples that underlie the whole Deadpool franchise, I guess you could call it, the character, really don't suit themselves well to a medium that isn't either animated or comic books. Talking to text boxes.
Yeah. But
brutally murdering random people because it's funny. Creating a chair made out of C4 so that he can blow up a compound filled with vampire zombies and mercenaries, one of whom was hired by a guy to get his wife back from the vampire zombies, but she joined them willingly.
Wow. Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah, that was
comics.
That was a thing. Yeah, that was a thing.
Let me tell you something though. You know Linkara, right? And he reviews so many comics.
Oh no, I've never heard of him.
No, I know. You know, to
It's
say
not
to
like
the
we never
audience,
mentioned this.
yeah, no. But he happened to mention Deadpool recently, or not that recently, whatever, because he was crossing over with like
Brute Force,
right? And he said, I've never reviewed a Deadpool comic before because there aren't any like really bad ones to review. That's a huge compliment. How many other characters have escaped Linkara's wrath?
Okay, I will grant you, part of it might be because Linkara generally tends to review older comics.
That's true.
And part of the fun of that is that the Silver Age was rather goofy by our standards. Mm-hmm. This was the age that gave us, "Go, Superman statue! You're the only one that can save Metropolis now." And Batman has to wear a different colored costume every day, otherwise he'll die. This is also the era that gave us Bat Baby and the Zebra Batman. And for examples that don't involve Batman, Wonder Woman had 3 other versions of herself. Wonder Tot, Wonder Girl, and herself, because there was miscommunications between the different departments that were working on Wonder Woman. So they didn't... Some people thought that Wonder Girl and Wonder Tot were entirely separate characters as opposed to the same character at different points in the time stream.
Right.
And that's where Donna Troy actually comes from. So,
really?
Yeah, she's Wonder Girl. But
university wobbly, spacey.
But because her backstory is... She's basically the result of a universal glitch.
Yeah, I think I've heard that TV trope.
They fucked up in trying to create her. Yeah, that's why she has so many different backstories. But yeah, this movie should not have turned out as well as it did. In development hell for years, anchored to the Fox X-Men group.
Right, yeah.
Which is, and I'm going to be as honest as I can here, it's a very hit or miss franchise there. They've rebooted Wolverine like 3 or 4 times.
I mean, the first 2 X-Men's really got the whole genre going, and then third was like, and then there was this...
Third was just bad. It was just boring. Not to mention with the success that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been having, and how the Marvel film franchise is kind of picky. No, not picky. Territorial. They've been trying to reacquire the film rights to all their stuff.
Yeah, now that it's super profitable.
Yeah, but Fox and whoever does the Fantastic Four don't...
Is that Sony?
Sony, yeah. They aren't giving up the film rights to the stuff that they have, even though every Fantastic Four movie has been horrible.
Which, ironically, was worked out pretty well for the MCU because they were forced to focus on just the core Avengers group. They had some focus to their, to their thing.
Well, okay, yes, you could say that. You could also say that the Fantastic Four films have been terrible.
They have been terrible.
Okay, but... And what's more, Ryan Reynolds is the choice of the main protagonist.
I don't know much about Ryan Reynolds.
The thing that I was about to bring up is, he's a big comics fan. The problem is that the last big comics hero he starred as was Green Lantern.
Right. That sucked.
Okay, I won't say that it out and out sucked. I thought it was at best so okay it's average.
Well, yeah, I could give you that. I can give you that. It was just
The problem is that A, I'm a gigantic Green Lantern fan, so the bar is set higher for me. I mean, you can't just throw like, "Hi, I'm the Green Lantern. I have a magical ring granted to me by leprechauns."
Yeah.
You have to be like, "No, this is how things happen."
Yeah.
He was given his ring by Abin Sur because he was the being with the greatest willpower in the vicinity, which is kind of weird once you hear how rings are actually reassigned much later on in the comics. But whatever.
What, by randomly or?
No, the sentient planet Mogo, who's also a Green Lantern, directs them to the beings of highest willpower in the space sector.
Oh, so Mogo was busy that day.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a sentient planet. He's got things to do, orbits to orbit in.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite story of like, there's this Alan Moore collection. I think it's Alan Moore. I'm sorry if it's not, but they introduced two characters, Mogo and Bolfunga the Unrelenting. I'm pretty sure that's the name. Okay. He's an alien, so. He's like, I will hunt down and kill this Green Lantern Mogo, who has never been seen before. So he goes to this planet, and he lives up to the name Unrelenting. And he's just searching everywhere. He's like, well, I can tell that somebody lives here because all of the forests are exactly in perfect geometric patterns, and the rivers form shapes. And he spends years here looking. Maybe he's a Green Lantern insect, because in the comics, Mogo's partner is Bzzd, which is a Green Lantern fly.
Okay.
He's a fly, so,
Great.
He's like, okay, maybe if I look over the maps, and then he looks at it, he relents, he starts screaming, and he flies away to reveal that the entire planet is a Green Lantern, and the trees were shaped into the shape of the Lantern's logo. It's just so comic books that I can't help but love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Green Lantern film did not go well, and considering DC was originally planning to use that to start their own line of films, similar to how the MCU got started with Iron Man, yeah. So
people were concerned then that Reynolds might not pull through in this new movie, but it's the writing, man.
No. I won't even say that's the writing.
Really?
So here's what the film was going up against: stuck in development hell, saddled to a franchise that, quite frankly, is hit or miss at the very best. Probably not going to get a lot of studio love, considering that the last time Deadpool showed up in the X-Men universe, they sewed his mouth shut because the director hated the character that much.
The honest trailer is like, and just wait till you hear what they've done with Deadpool. The merc with the mouth has his mouth sewn shut. It was just like, ow!
This is the guy. The guy was actually fired. He gets mentioned as an idiot in the movie, like in one of Deadpool's throwaway lines. So you have that. You're working with the Fox group, which killed Firefly and a number of other franchises.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Fox?
And your actor was last known in the science fiction, fantasy, comic books universes as the guy who played Green Lantern. This movie had an uphill battle from the word go. But for some reason, some unfathomable reason, well, Ryan Reynolds was a gigantic Deadpool fan, and he worked hard to make sure that everything was right. Mm-hmm. And it paid
off. Yeah.
This movie was really good, although I would compare it to Iron Man in a way.
In what way?
If you look at the plot and the storyline, it's not particularly good. I mean, it's okay. It's, I was a terrible person, but then I found love. But then I got sick, and then I murdered everyone. It's not exactly it's not going to win originality awards.
I mean, certainly by the final act, you're like, oh, hey, it's a damsel in distress thing. Like, I think I've seen that before.
Same with Iron Man. I make weapons. Oh no, I'm kidnapped. I see what horror's weapons can do. I'm going to stop weapons.
That's actually more original than damsel in distress.
Okay, fair point. But like, he's redeeming for his sins. He helped make these weapons.
Sure.
But what made Iron Man, the first Iron Man film, I mean, by the second one, the MCU was in full stride. They knew what they were doing at that point. But what made Iron Man was the inclusion of the lead actor, who added his own little flair to the character and made him shine.
Yeah, no, I before that movie came out, I don't know anything about Iron Man. Like, he didn't have a personality in my mind. And now I think of him as being Robert Downey Jr.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Without Robert Downey Jr., I would highly suspect that the MCU would have crashed and burned right there.
It might have. I mean, you know that in that first, the first 2 movies, was it maybe they let the actors ad lib a lot of their lines.
Yeah,
and some of the most funniest stuff in there, like when he's at the press conference or after he gets back from Berserkistan, wherever it was.
Berserkistan. You read Doonesbury, don't you?
So I do actually, but after he gets back, and he has that press conference. He's like exhausted. He's like, yeah, let's just all sit down. And all the reporters are kind of awkwardly like, oh, are we sitting down now? They're reacting because that wasn't in the script. Like, they made everything a little fresher, Oh,
the Avengers was the same way. Anytime you see Robert Downey Jr. eating on set, that's because he would hide food around the sets and not tell anyone.
Oh my gosh.
And despite the fact that they went over these sets multiple times, they couldn't get them all, so they just decided to let him eat. But back to Deadpool, this movie would not have worked had Ryan Reynolds not had the passion to see this entire project through and add in the Deadpool spirit that we know and love.
And, the obviously writers who are quoted in the beginning as the real heroes here probably had some hand in coming up with these little sides. But yeah, Ryan is there to make it work.
He makes it work, better than I would have expected. It's just so Deadpool that even though he's not talking to the text bubbles, even though he's not, he is breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
But he's just so Deadpool, you can't help but love him. He makes the movie.
Yeah, he does that whole thing of, as you expected from Deadpool, somehow it could be hyper violent but super silly at the same time. The whole opening credit sequence is that synthesis.
The opening credit scene tells you everything you need to know about the movie and the tone it's trying to take of hyper violent and very silly.
Yeah.
Because it goes into a slow motion kind of camera work, zooming slowly around this car that's crashing.
You don't even know what's going on for a while there. Like, some sort of chaos is happening and everyone is just frozen in place while the camera moves.
Yeah, well, it shows Deadpool beating people up.
He's grabbing a guy's underwear and hitting someone else, and then there's
And while it's doing this, it's giving the worst ridiculous descriptions that I've ever heard for people.
Oh yeah, for instead of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, it just says starring God's perfect idiot.
God's perfect idiot, a gratuitous cameo, a CGI character,
a moody teen. It's self-aware. I like that.
So, we first meet, I guess it's time to actually talk about the movie. It's after that, it rewinds a few minutes, and it goes...
So, a lot of flashbacky structure in this movie. Yeah. Especially when I saw it the second time. I was like, oh, this is all based on flashbacks. But, they made it work.
Okay, so Deadpool is hanging out... not hanging out. He's in a cab.
He's in the back of a cab, and there's this little quick montage of him sitting in the cab, he's messing with the window, and he gets
playing with the airflow with his hand. Yeah. And I do that at the same time.
And when you see that though, I could instantly imagine that comic book style where each of these things is one panel,
exactly.
on a page, and you're like, oh, you're already there. You're getting, what it's like. Okay,
and finally, cool. He gets so bored, he goes up to the front seat of the cab and starts talking to the cab driver,
who becomes a character.
I know.
Isn't that so weird?
I know, and he's giving him relationship advice. He's he adds him to his phone contact list.
Yeah,
I don't know if you noticed that, but
Mr. Poole, it says at the
end. And it has his logo. So this guy left such an impact. He added Deadpool's logo to his contact information.
Right. So this is a character who's not just breaking the fourth wall in a sort of obvious sense, but he's breaking the more subtle walls as to how narrative flow normally goes. You're not supposed to talk to the cab driver. You're definitely not supposed to talk about his girlfriend, right, in a normal movie. And he's like, no, I'm gonna mess around and do weird things. And you're like, that's so Deadpool.
And then he stops the cab and he gets out at the side of the road and starts making a picture in crayon.
Yeah.
Because Deadpool. That's gonna be an excuse we use a lot in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Then he jumps off the freeway, just steps off, slams into a car, goes through the roof of it. I don't know how he gets in. I can't remember. There's a lot of things going by really fast. Starts beating up everyone in the car and brutally murdering them.
And making commentary along the way.
Yes.
Corinthian leather.
And then he shows a crayon picture of a man getting his brains blown out by Deadpool, yelling, "Arg, I'm dead." Holds it up to a guy and says, "Have you seen this man?"
And continues the fight.
And he's pretty brutal in his fighting style. This isn't an MCU film where it's oh no, a monster! Psst, and the monster goes flying off screen and it's implied, oh, they're dead or something. Mm-hmm. No. He's impaling people. He's shooting people. One guy, he holds a cigarette lighter in that guy's mouth.
Yeah.
And says, "Now, I've never said this before, but don't swallow."
Oh, God.
Yeah. So eventually it culminates in this big battle on the freeway where more people are brutally, horribly murdered.
Well, and he only has 12 bullets, remember? So he's like counting them off, and he wastes 2 of them on purpose at one point because he's so pissed at this one guy.
Like, each of the bullets is individually marked. Yeah. Or maybe they're not. It could be Deadpool being insane and thinking that.
Yeah.
Because Deadpool.
Either way, yeah.
Eventually he finds the guy he's been looking for this whole time and says, "Francis!" Or maybe he doesn't. I don't. This movie has so much shit to remember. I can't remember. Well,
he stabs the guy into a wall
with a sword,
but he gets interrupted by X-Men showing up.
Yeah, specifically, 2 X-Men who saw him on the freeway, and their reaction is probably the most perfect reaction I've ever seen to Deadpool. Wait, Deadpool's on the news, and oh my God damn it, we have to go stop Deadpool. Because if there is ever a reaction that any hero ever has to see Deadpool, that should be it.
I do wish
God damn it, it's Deadpool.
I do wish there was, like, one more line to explain why they get involved. Like, you know, do they just interrupt any random person doing ridiculous shit on the news?
They do explain later on, it's because Deadpool, in this continuity, was not gifted with the mutant gene. He has an active mutant gene.
Well, yeah, and
basically that means he's a mutant.
So then they don't want. Sorry, I was about to say that. So like, yeah, they mutants get enough crap as it is, and they have to like rein in their own in order to not get more crap from the public.
There are 2 sides into this war between us. We, the X-Men, who stand for righteousness and justice. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, who want to exterminate you all. Ironically led by a Holocaust survivor. So, you know, that's... I don't even get what that's about, seriously.
Villainy is often irrational, even in the real world.
Yeah, it's like, he was a survivor of the Holocaust, and then Magneto's like, "I survived the Holocaust.
You know what?
So I should exterminate an entire group of people because they don't match the terms of the superior beings." That's not idiotic at all.
You know what would have been really interesting, though, in comics or whatever? If Magneto had a rule of he wants to rule over or kill, you know, the humans, except Jews. Like, he's nice just to the Jews because he's a Holocaust survivor. But then, I don't know, people would get upset at that because you don't want to talk about identity politics too much.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of funny if, like, Magneto's like... They're watching these 2 human groups battle each other. "Come, my brotherhood. We must stop them." "Stop? Yes, we must stop all the humans from fighting so we can kill them." "What? No. We want to stop the National Guard. They're battling neo-Nazis." "Well, why do we want to stop them?" "Because I want to battle the neo-Nazis. Fuck those guys."
Yeah.
Okay, but we're getting really sidetracked.
It's appropriate for a Deadpool review.
Yeah, so, yeah, they're interrupted by Colossus, who is the CGI character, and the Moody Teen, whose superhero name is the greatest thing ever, Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yeah, Deadpool's immediately like, "That's an amazing name. Can we swap names?"
No, he does that.
He does it like a minute later. Yeah.
Okay. The sad part is I actually know where Negasonic Teenage Warhead comes from. She was in like 2 panels and then she dies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not kidding here. Her power was psychicness, psionics, and precognition. And she saw her death coming and then she died. But they chose her name for this one and gave her a completely different power set because...
Deadpool?
No, because honestly the first one was kind of lame.
Yeah.
And said, "This is the best name ever, we're using this one. Even if we have to give her a completely different power set in order to do it."
Yeah.
Okay, so let's pick things up here a bit. And then it flashes back to, well, Deadpool's asking the audience, whoa. I know what you're thinking. You took your girlfriend out here to see a fun superhero movie.
Right about now, I bet your girlfriend's saying, "I thought this was a superhero movie, but he just turned that guy into a fucking kebab."
Yeah. So it goes back in time in a flashback, which, because Deadpool. And
because superhero movies in general seem to have so many flashbacks.
Yeah, I don't know.
Batman did that, Superman did that.
Okay, point.
And
it shows that he is a righteous, heart of gold mercenary who's still a gigantic douchebag.
Yeah.
He shows up at this guy's apartment, threatens him with a gun, and then tells him that he ordered... No. A guy shows up at an apartment and says, "Here's your pizza, you ordered it from here." Oh, I didn't order a pizza. Deadpool walks out of that guy's closet and says, oh, that was me. Wait, who the hell are you? Well, I've been waiting in here for this guy. I ordered a pizza. Oh, I just used the bathroom, by the way. There's no bathroom in there. Wait, no. I pooped in the cat box, by the way. I don't have a cat. And whose cat box did I poop in? Threatens both of them with a gun, but it turns out that the guy he was here for was the pizza guy because he'd been stalking this girl.
Yeah. Simple enough.
Yeah, but it seems to be a very Deadpool plan, and, we could do this a simple way, or we could do it the way that hurts the most amount of people.
Order a pizza along the way, yeah.
Yeah. So apparently he pooped in a phantom quantum cat box that both exists and doesn't exist.
Oh, God.
And, okay, you know what? I don't even... And then he goes to this bad guy bar.
The point being, at least, though, that when Deadpool does things, he always does it weird. He could have just, in any other movie, you'd been like, oh, he wants to confront a stalker? Cool. He'll just find the guy and threaten him. But no. He had to do this whole thing with the pizza, and, even when he's face-to-face with the guy, it takes a while to, actually mention what he's here for. And makes quips along the way.
Well, because Deadpool.
Yeah, because Deadpool. And it's good.
So he goes to a bad guy bar, and he orders a drink he calls a blowjob. Then he deliberately incites a fight with, a bunch of people saying, that guy wants to give you a blowjob. So then a bar brawl starts, and it turns out that everyone in the bar, plus other people, are on the Deadpool.
How do we know other people are on the thing?
Because I can see the names.
How do you know the names of everyone in the bar?
Because otherwise they wouldn't really be caring if that guy was dead or alive. They're saying, okay, he's still alive, and then people are like, oh, I lost the bet.
But he's not other people. He's in the bar.
Yeah, I know.
Well, there you go.
Other people in the bar.
Oh, other people in the... They might be people outside the bar.
Well, there are some people outside the bar as well. Like, M. Cyrus is up there.
Oh, okay.
Ryan Reynolds is on there.
Okay.
Bill Cosby.
I did not freeze frame that, so...
I looked it up later.
All right.
So anyways, he meets a hooker there, and
Yeah. This is an interesting element, right?
Okay, I think this shows just how different Deadpool is than most superhero movies.
Yeah.
Or other darker and edgier films that go like, I slept with the hooker last night.
Yeah.
So Deadpool pays her $200 for 43 minutes of her time, and he does the most natural thing. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. He pays a hooker $200 for 43 minutes of playing skee-ball.
And that is not a weird metaphor or something.
That's
they
not
go
a
to the
dark
local
sex
Chuck
act.
E. Cheese's or something, really equivalent.
And they play skee-ball for 40 minutes, and then he gives her a Voltron ring.
Yeah. Now, this is so amazing. I wanted Deadpool.
This is the stupidest and most wonderful.
It's
movie.
wonderful. No,
It's like if Kung Fury was taking itself seriously.
Wow, that is an oxymoron, but I kind of know what you mean. Yeah.
You can see Deadpool going, yeah, baby, that's my bicep.
Okay, but...
Okay, Weasel, program the time machine. Program me back in time so I can fight Hitler. Woohoo!
Yeah.
You can see that.
You see that. Okay, so I walked into a Deadpool movie, and I'm expecting frantic action, and I got that. And I'm expecting fourth wall silliness and humor, and I got that. But on top of that, there was a surprising message of tolerance that, you don't get in other movies.
I didn't get this.
That's why I'm about to monologue about this. So first off, we see Deadpool, messing with a guy for being a stalker. A little anti-stalking message in there. Okay, that's nice. Usually the concept doesn't much come up in movies. And he does it without pay even. Then he meets a hooker and deliberately says, I want to get to know the real you and not just judge you for your, sexy appearance or whatever. I was like, oh my gosh, what a lovely message. It's a weird and a joke, but it's sort of actually an honest-to-God message at the same time, that somehow they managed to do this. And then the two of them get together, and there's this whole year-long thing where they have holiday-themed sex.
Yeah, okay, my favorite one is they're doing these horrible, disgusting sex acts, Deadpool's being done up the butt on Women's Day. My favorite one is Lent, when after showing these raunchy scenes of increasingly depraved sex, it's them sitting, reading a book, and drinking coffee. Happy Lent. Just abstinence is the theme of that.
That's their thing.
It's just okay, this just...
But the thing is, they so they have all this sex, and normally it's if you are having lots of sex, you have to be this really messed up, as a general movie rule. if you're having lots of sex, especially if it's weird BDSM stuff and things like that, then you have to be sort of messed up, and there's this real grungy aspect to it.
Okay, I know what you're going for here.
What?
But you're trying to argue that Deadpool isn't messed up.
This is what I'm getting. This is interesting, though. This is interesting. Is that, like, he is, but then he isn't. Like, they have an honest-to-God love story. That never happens when people are having weird, crazy sex, when all the sex is happening on screen, and when they have this whole monologue about how messed up their childhoods were, and you know, like, half of this is they're making it up, but, like, they're going straight up, yeah, I was molested, I was molested twice, or this and that, and they're like, they have messed up, screwed up pasts, and the movie is going out of its way to be like, yeah, these messed up people, they can still fall in love and have this wonderful proposal scene where she's, like, so happy and he's happy about the thing, and it's, like, it's non-shameful. It's the exact scenario where you expect a sense of shame about it, where the movie would be like, okay, yeah, they can have this sort of sex, but then, like, you know, they're not allowed to really fall in love. And they broke that rule in wide open. And I thought that was so cool.
There's two things that I'm against in what you just said.
Okay.
First off is that I don't think they were going that far into it. I think they were trying to just show this is just normal people. This isn't beautiful people. This is just people having a relationship. And they will have weird sex sometimes.
And I'm saying most movies don't. How many superhero movies do you hear where they actually deal with sex at all? Let alone in such a mature way. Not like mature like, oh, and that, look, you can see things on screen. Like mature like, yes, and now these people have a relationship, and sex is part of that, and it's fine. And you're like, oh my gosh.
Second, I don't think Deadpool is physically capable of shame.
Well, that's it though. They're using the character to something really positive.
No,
you know
that's...
No, I'm serious.
Look, if you want a proponent, look, I get what you're trying to say, and it's good that they're having messages of tolerance and inclusion, but the poster child of tolerance and inclusion should not be Deadpool. Hey kids, be tolerant. I just murdered 12 people. Why? I don't know. I'm kind of messed up.
I'm not saying he's a paragon. I'm not saying he's like an ideal, but like there was more idealism in there than I was expecting.
He turned into a Gestalt robot with cyborg animals.
I know!
He made a chair out of C4 and then sat in it, watching TV, and then yelling at the TV because B. Arthur was not one of the 100 sexiest people on the planet.
That is correct. That was in the comics. That was correct. Yes, I'm just saying, I'm surprised at how positive and uplifting it all. Come on, when he proposed, I mean, there's little jokes around this, but the scene still.
He pulled his engagement ring out of his butt.
Maybe that wasn't clear. But there's a moment you can see it on their faces where like it's totally treated like an honest to God love story thing, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet, and because it's so sweet, it has the emotional power to like to serve as such an important plot element.
Okay, I do admit one thing: it does elevate the character of Vanessa, who is the hooker, more than just I'm the token superhero love interest who's going to get offed in the third act to show pathos.
Yeah, no. She was so much more interesting than that.
Yeah, I'm not naming names. Mary Jane Watson.
I mean, like, I like Mary Jane, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I know. This was not a Mary Jane clone. This was different.
Look, I like Pepper Potts, but, she didn't really do much in the Iron Man films. From a point of view of...
Yeah.
I mean, she was a strong, independent woman, but most of her strong, independent woman stuff was stuff that would be unimaginably boring to do.
and I'll grant
Watches our strong, independent woman files taxes and arranges business deals.
Yeah. And I'll grant you, Vanessa does fall more into damsel in distress for the third act, which is why I'm glad she at least gets to grab a sword and make a stab at one point in the middle of the final battle. So
also,
something there. Give me more Vanessa.
Also, at that point, it was a superhero battle, and she is, and I know I've mentioned this. She's a hooker. She doesn't, unless she's part of the 500 elite battle hookers.
It has to be a comic now. Dang.
I actually stole that from something.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, at best she's not getting into this.
Yeah.
Although she had superpowers in the comics, so
maybe she'll get them in the sequel.
Yeah.
And then Cable will show up because the teaser said so. I don't know.
Yeah, but they haven't even whatever. Okay, so and he proposes to her by possibly pulling a ring out of his butt.
And it's like a popsicle, not a popsicle, it's like a candy ring thing. What do they call those? But that's like perfect. He's like, they said, the guideline is 3 months salary, and he doesn't like to make a regular salary, so I'm like, there you go. It's like 25 cents.
And he's like,
But it fits. Yeah.
And then, well, my life went to shit. And it shifts to a perspective where it's staring at an action figure of Deadpool from the Wolverine movie. The one version of Deadpool that everyone hates.
Wait, I thought it just him fell over and he suddenly had cancer. What was the part with the figure?
It was somewhere. Look, this
in
movie has a lot of stuff. I can't remember all of it. Yeah. But apparently he then falls over and it turns out that he has cancer in... I'm going to just lowball it here everywhere.
Yeah.
He has all of the cancer. There are several cancer patients who no longer have cancer. He has all of it. He did not save any cancer for anyone else. He has all of the cancer.
Which
he actually pulls up a pretty good line out of it. Yeah. Yes, I'm sure. Yes, I just have cancer in my heart, lungs, brain, and testicles. All things I can live without.
But then suddenly he's terminal. And this is, again, weirdly taken seriously, in a good way. Like, he wants to leave so Vanessa doesn't, have to see him slowly die. And she asks him to stay, and...
This is kind of douchey of him, but...
What, to stay or to leave?
To leave. Without, saying goodbye or leaving a note.
But he had when he did leave, he had intended to come back soon. He didn't think this Weapon X thing would take, a year and a day. And
okay, but...
it ended up being this shady thing and all this.
At the bad guy bar, he meets up with this guy who looks kind of like what would happen if you crossbred the G-Man from Half-Life games and Agent Coulson.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. That guy, he comes in and says... We're part of a group that can cure you, potentially. But he does it in the scummiest way possible, and so Deadpool starts insulting him, saying that he's like Jared from the Subway commercials, and that insinuating that he's a pedophile.
Does that have something to do with Jared from the Subway commercials?
He was arrested for...
Oh my god, really?
Not I don't know the exact details, but it was related to children, and he's looking it up. Ladies and gentlemen, Sonic Sons is in fact looking up what the hell happened to Jared.
I mean, we have this laptop right here.
Jared's Subway. Okay.
No, that's pretty bad.
Paying for that's actually pretty bad.
Okay, so anyway, turning off the tab. All right.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no.
So back to the uplifting murderer.
Yeah, he goes in and he's making jokes and shit. He even jokes about how if they give him superpowers, don't make him a CGI glowing green suit like he had in Green Lantern.
Oh, I get it now. Yeah. I had not made that connection till just now.
Well, I was deliberately looking for connection between Green Lantern and... and basically, this Weapon X thing is, horrible, horrible torture.
But it gives you superpowers if you're lucky, which he ends up being lucky enough to get powers, but not lucky enough to get them quickly.
The whole scene is just... The whole portion of this movie is a combination of hilarious, because it's Deadpool being a jackass to people who are torturing him, and people torturing Deadpool. So, yeah.
They're really good at playing with these multiple ideas that normally don't go together.
Yeah. So, eventually, they put him in a special stasis tank that will keep him just at the point where he's asphyxiating, but not actually asphyxiating. Yeah. And eventually, it drives his level of trauma so high that it activates his healing power, which cures all his cancer, but leaves him looking... I won't actually say ugly. I mean, doesn't look normal, but he's still Ryan Reynolds. He's still attractive.
He's still got the proportions, but the makeup messes up his skin.
Yeah, I mean, I know what they were going for. In the comics, Deadpool either looks like a zombie or he has horrible open lesions all over his body. Mm-hmm. But you're still trying to... It's like the inverse of putting lipstick on a pig. Putting lipstick on a pig means...
It's like putting mud on Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, you can't really come up with a good analogy because it isn't a thing. And he gets mad and the whole place explodes and there's fire and he tries to fight...
He had a pretty cool escape.
He tries to fight Ajax, whose real name is Francis, but he hates his real name, so he calls himself Ajax.
He was in charge of the whole thing.
Yeah, but Ajax escapes and Deadpool survives. And so Deadpool decides that the only thing to do is to return home, except, oh, no, wait. Now's the time for him to go on a murder spree.
Well, first, there was the whole thing of him being super ugly, and he felt he couldn't confront Vanessa, and he wanted to go find Francis again.
Yeah, okay. So then he goes back to the bad guy bar, which I can't remember the name of. It's like Saint someone's School for Girls, which is a bar in the real Deadpool comics. And he talks to his friend Weasel, who is the bartender. He's played by T.J. Miller, who I am a big fan of.
What else did he do? You became a big fan of T.J. Miller because of his appearance in Deadpool.
He does the voice of Ruffnut, the male twin from How to Train Your Dragon. Now, admitted... Well, he also does some other stuff, like...
he was in Big Hero 6.
Yeah, he was the slacker doofus with the monster costume. Okay,
I'm looking this up, people.
Cloverfield... She's on your league.
Things I haven't heard of.
Yogi Bear.
Yeah.
I Train Dragons 2. Big Hero 6. Deadpool. But, in the How to Train Your Dragons movie, he doesn't really get much time because most of the story is focused on either Hiccup or on Hiccup's scumbag mom. And no, I will not let that go. She was a bitch and she should have thought better.
Yeah, no, she screwed that up. I'll give you that.
Yeah. In the TV show, however, he was one of the highlights I had for the show and why I thought it was so good. Because oftentimes he went so far off script, no one else could keep up with him. They eventually realized, oh crap, his identical fraternal twin doesn't get any lines because he just has so many good lines that he just makes up for this story.
Right. So that's a good guy to have in a movie.
Yeah, Weasel and Deadpool start gabbing about, okay, what should I call myself? I'm a superhero now, or not a superhero, but I should have a code name.
Yeah, she doesn't want Francis to know who he is until he gets there.
Captain Deadpool. Yeah, just Deadpool.
Yeah. So he goes on a murder spree, which of course is funny, like all the other scenes.
Yeah, like he's trying to murder these Japanese twins who are trying to murder him. And he's like, "I'm sorry, should I feel bad about this?"
Because they're girls. He's like, well, is it sexist to hit you? Is it more sexist not to hit you? It's so confusing.
While he's pulling out his guns.
For the record, I think it's more sexist not to hit them. If you're going to be evil, and well, he's being heroic in his case. If you're going to hurt people, you might as well hurt both genders equally.
Please don't. You know how we say that should go on a T-shirt? That should not go on a T-shirt.
I said if generally don't hurt anybody. Just saying.
Okay. My favorite one though had to be, the Zamboni.
Yes.
Where he's basically shot some guy in the legs and he's crawling away on the ice and he's driving a Zamboni after him to crush him to death. And he's laughing the whole time saying, "You're going to get killed by a Zamboni."
In about 5 minutes.
Yeah, at this point I started actually having some doubts about the movie.
Oh yeah.
Because I realized I'm laughing at this guy going on a murder spree. He is going around and brutally slaughtering each of these in increasingly disturbed ways, and we're cheering him on. What does that say about us?
2 points. 1, they're all bad guys. 2, the TV tropes term crosses the line twice. Entirely Deadpool's MO. It's so ridiculous that it becomes detached from, the actual idea of people dying, and it's more just Deadpool is being silly, and also there's death involved. You know what I mean?
Fair point. Just, it's still kind of gnaws at the back of your brain, though.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. So, he murders his way up the chain of command, except that it's implied that he has been screwing up in this case.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's a subtle implication that he kind of, sort of, never interrogated anyone as to who their partners were, so he doesn't know who anyone is.
Wait, didn't he keep saying, "Where is Francis?" And then he had, a little bulletin board of, people...
And then he shoots them before they can answer.
Well, how did he embrace the bulletin board with all this info on it if he didn't get information from the people? Whatever.
Deadpool.
Because Deadpool.
Okay, so then it flashes forward a little bit to where he finally finds the guy who put him up to this Weapon X shit.
And that guy tells him where Francis is.
Yeah. Also, he meets a blind woman in a laundromat who tells him to either get a red costume or get something that's immune to blood and tells him how to get blood out of stuff.
And this person becomes a character.
Yeah.
Her name is Blind Al, apparently.
She's from the comics.
She's from the comics. But, I didn't know enough about Deadpool to, know, oh, hey, that's Blind Al. It's just we met this random woman in a laundromat. Then later on, they're roommates. Because Deadpool. Because why not?
So it flashes forward back to the highway where Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead are telling Deadpool, no, you can't kill Francis, who has just escaped from being impaled to the fucking concrete wall. Okay, you know what? Francis's powers just elude me. He says, I am immune to pain. That's all he says about his powers. I can't feel pain.
Well, no, he says, in my case, because you explained the thing to Deadpool, he says, in my case, it sharpened my reflexes. Also, it deadened my nerve endings, so I no longer feel pain. So we see him with sharp reflexes when Deadpool tries to shoot him, and he dodges like 3 times. Remember that? And he's on the motorcycle.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't recall anywhere in there that says, I can survive being impaled through my lungs to a fucking concrete wall and then pull the sword out.
Yeah, no. I just headcanon it that he has a healing factor, and it's not as strong as Deadpool's, but it's like strong enough for the movie's purposes. You know?
Yeah, so it's plot mandated.
Plot mandated healing factor.
And let's face it, if you're tying into Deadpool's origin story, that is actually possible.
Yeah.
So Colossus tries to take him in by handcuffing Deadpool to him, so Deadpool cuts off his own hand, knowing it'll regrow.
Yeah.
And the hand is stuck permanently in... The hand that he cut off is stuck permanently in a flipping Colossus off pose. He then rides back to Blind Al's in a garbage truck, and then flashes back to when he met Blind Al and saying, oh my god, I'm having a flashback inside of a flashback. It's like 16 walls.
A fourth wall joke instead of fourth wall joke. That's like 16 walls, yeah.
Yeah, so then we get to see Deadpool in Blind Al's place. It's revealed that Blind Al is a former cocaine addict.
Because tolerance. There we go again. He makes friends.
No, you
with
are
someone
not.
Who's on time.
You are not allowed to say this shows tolerance to a former cocaine addict.
But it does. What did you last see Batman make friends with a cocaine addict? Like, these people normally don't exist in everyone else's universe, right?
Sorry. I was thinking about Snowflame.
No.
Snowflame versus Deadpool. Do it, DC and Marvel.
You would. Yeah.
Okay, so then stuff happens. Deadpool announces that he's going to masturbate to a plushed horse toy with his tiny hand because his penis will feel gigantic. Why did I say that?
I don't know.
That is a sentence.
I was going to skip it over. But I'm tolerant enough to let you say.
But you want to know the saddest part about this? The guy in Mexico... The Spanish dub of Deadpool, the guy who dubs Deadpool, also the same guy who does the voice for Shining Armor in Mexico. In MLP.
For My Little Pony. Wow.
Yeah. Suck it, Shining Armor! You got a bad masturbation joke about you. Ha ha ha. Anyways, on to other things that don't relate to that at all. Francis realizes, oh shit, Deadpool is actually serious. So he goes over to the bad guy bar.
And if he knows who Deadpool is suddenly, right?
Yeah.
He showed him his face.
So, anyways, he goes to the bad guy bar, and something happens that I really love. They go to the bad guy bar, he tries to threaten Weasel by pointing a gun in his face. Everyone else in the bar points a gun at them, and Francis and Angel Dust, who's with him, are like, oh shit, I just realized this was a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, biker bars are kind of like... full of red shirts in every other story. But, they have these guns. They outnumber you 1,000 to 1. You'd think that this would be...
relevant, yeah.
Harder to kill everyone in. Usually that's just like a villain walks in, murders everyone because they were sinners, and then walks out.
So that was cool, yeah.
Okay, then, thanks to a picture that Wade had there, Francis finds that Wade had a girlfriend and that she works at a strip club now.
And by complete coincidence, Angel has seen her before. Which makes me wonder if Angel is gay or something and goes to this strip club. I don't know. That's a thing.
Well, they probably have underworld connections. They probably,
I guess. But, Vanessa wasn't in the, actually, mafia-style stuff. She's just a hooker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and what? No one in the underworld ever visits
No,
strip
but,
clubs?
how many hookers are there that you happen to know this particular one?
Maybe she was good at being a hooker.
Maybe she was. Anyway.
So they go to a strip club where Stan Lee is the DJ, and, props to the movie. It's a Marvel film where they show bare tits, and it's a strip club. There's naked women everywhere. And they show it.
And then we move on to the rest of the plot, because...
Yeah.
There we go.
It looks like Wade's gonna find her there, but he doesn't because Francis went out back and he took her with and stuff.
He kidnapped her.
Yeah, and took her to
what appears to be a defunct helicarrier.
Yeah. See, the interesting thing is that sometimes it feels like other studios want to get in on the Marvel MCU universe. For example, the original Amazing Spider-Man films, that is to say, the rebooted Spider-Man.
Gwen Stacy Spider-Man.
The second version. The one that's not in the MCU.
Yep.
They explain the reason why there's so many cranes everywhere is they're rebuilding from the attack by the Chitauri.
Wait, they said that in Spider-Man?
Word of God.
Oh, okay.
But they couldn't say that out flat out because different companies.
Okay.
So the presence of a helicarrier here, when the helicarriers are pretty much the exclusive property of the MCU Marvel, it just raises some interesting possibilities.
Yeah.
They don't outright say it's a helicarrier, but they leave it open in case
anybody want to do a crossover?
Anyone want to make the X-Men part of the MCU?
That would make your universe kind of crowded, but good luck. Yeah.
Yes, because it's not already crowded enough.
That's what I'm saying. It's already crowded enough, so don't double overcrowd it.
So, anyways, and they bring Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Colossus because they're the only X-Men, which he lampshades in another throw it in line.
Yeah, it's like, it's almost as if the studio couldn't afford another X-Men. It's like totally true.
Yeah, it is.
And then they get that same taxi driver to drive them there.
Yeah, and he has... The thing with the guy is, the taxi driver, he wants this woman to be his girlfriend, but she's dating his scumbag brother. So he does the natural thing and takes Deadpool's advice and decides to lock him in the trunk and is planning to kill him. So Deadpool is trying to give all this fake double advice because he's working with the X-Men.
Colossus, who's much nicer about it.
Yeah. That was very wrong. Good job. And you should never do it again. Use the whips. And I assure you, you must never hurt anyone again. Kill him.
Yeah.
Yep. So they meet with Francis's thugs at the helicarrier breaking yard, apparently, and they have like the standard hero villain walking in a line.
Yeah. They walk. They're walking towards the area first, and then he's like, "Oh crap! I lost my ammo bag in the car again." Or whatever.
And then it shows the guy from the taxi driver getting his taxi rear-ended.
Yeah.
So this means that he is now stuck with what are probably stolen or illegal weapons, and a guy screaming in the trunk. So yeah, he's probably going to prison forever.
Yeah, just might.
So, yeah, they have the standard hero-villain banter, which Deadpool mocks. Then it shows Negasonic Teenage Warhead sending a text. Deadpool lampshades this, too. Oh, I'm sorry. Finish your tweet. We'll wait. And they do.
I love the early one when you're through, too. She's like, when they first meet, he's like, "Oh, I know this one. You're the teenage girl who'd rather be anywhere but here. You make long silences and mean comments. So what's gonna be now, huh? Long silence or mean comment?" Stares at her. "You got me in a box here." Oh! He's like sees through the character archetypes immediately and just breaks them. I like that.
And then it's revealed what her power is. Exploding!
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
Yeah, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, just explodes a lot.
Makes energy shoot out everywhere.
Which is an explosion, yeah.
Which is an explosion. I was saying she personally does not explode. Otherwise it'd be a one-time power.
Well, okay, yes, but like repeated explosions. But
yeah.
Otherwise the X-Men would never use her.
No.
Wait, how would you even discover her power? It's like, I can explode! Okay, next.
Oh, God.
Shut up. Wade and the other Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and I will never get tired of that name.
I guess that's where they got the explosion power from the name Teenage Warhead.
Yeah, well, that makes more sense than the psychic who does that. But anyway, they start fighting Angel, and it kind of shows highlights the difference between Deadpool and Colossus, because Angel has a wardrobe malfunction and her.
Yeah, that was a little bit of funniness there.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
He's like, "Oh, thank you," and then just punches him again.
Punches him in the dick.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done that, but I'm not a dick. Then again, I'm also not a superpowered woman, so
yeah, no.
So I don't really get this whole thing.
If there are any superpowered women in our audience, please give us a comment. Let us know what you would do in this situation.
Oh, please, we barely have an audience as is.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Deadpool murders everyone except for one of them, who turns out to be Bob, who he knew from a job he mentioned earlier.
Who's normally Bob, agent of Hydra.
But because the MCU owns the Hydra stuff,
they just called him Bob from TGI Fridays.
Yeah. Wade? Bob? Bob? Wade? Oh, how you doing? Oh, doing great. We haven't seen you since Tennessee with the Fridays. Yeah. And then he knocks him out, but he doesn't kill him. So
he
because
keeps talking to him as he's knocked out.
Oh, we forgot an earlier scene where Deadpool is packing his bag full of explosives that he never uses because he forgets it in the car.
Right, yeah.
He's like, Blind Al, I will always love you. I mean, I respect you so much. Don't worry. I know you'll miss me when I'm gone. Also, there's 160 kilos of cocaine somewhere in this house next to the cure for blindness. I hid it. And Weasel, he talks to Weasel. Weasel, Wade, I'd go with you, but I don't want to go with you.
Okay, I like that too. Normally, a hero has companions at all. They have to be like true companions who are there for you in thick and thin, which is great. But it's nice to see a little variety of like, I like you enough to help you this much, but like not so much to risk my life. And you're like, okay, also, that's realistic.
It's also people understanding their limits. I mean, I would help you if you were in trouble, but if you were being chased by assassins, I'd point you in the direction of the police.
Yeah, call someone else.
No offense, man. Just, there are situations where I'd be good for and situations I'm not good for. So, because Deadpool is Deadpool, he calls Francis out by taking the slain minions and using them to spell out Francis on the ground, using a severed head to make the lowercase I.
Oh, wow, I didn't even notice that part.
Yes, and then they have their superhero fight on top of the wrecked...
On top of the not helicarrier.
While Vanessa is trapped in the same tank that Deadpool
been trapped in, but she doesn't actually suffer like he does because he puts a hole through it, so she gets regular air pretty quick.
Yeah, also Deadpool gets a knife through his head.
Yeah, which makes him hallucinate cartoons for a little bit.
Really, you're kind of... You'd think that would be shocking and surprising that he's doing that, but on the other hand, this is Deadpool. I'm more concerned as to why that didn't happen earlier.
Yeah.
So they fight and 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 the helicarrier explodes and...
he saves Vanessa by getting her into the helicarrier. She had got into the pod.
Yeah, this makes no sense.
She had gotten out of the pod and stabbed Ajax or Francis one time because let's make her not entirely a damsel in distress. And then the whole thing is falling over and exploding, and he puts her back in the pod and throws that off the side, which somehow saves her because the thing has inertial dampeners inside of it or something.
Yeah, the best excuse I can come up with is the pod is designed to keep you alive. But pod is designed to keep you alive, and then there's fucking bullshit.
And then, this is a pod, seriously, that has to do, like, what they do for G-forces if you're in an X-Wing. Like, just magically, there are no G-forces. Just inertial dampeners.
And he's also armored enough to survive, like, the wreckage of half of a helicarrier falling on it.
Yeah.
While keeping the occupant, breathing and healthy.
Yep.
Without any visible power sources or machinery.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tech that the Beyonder or Galactus would have. Not Ajax.
Oh my gosh, you imagine, like, Galactus shows up in the next thing, like, hey, my pod.
Vanessa of Earth, you are gifted with the power cosmic, and be the herald of Galactus.
Oh my gosh, how confusing. It'd be so weird.
She's still, like, dating Deadpool. That would be great. It's like the Silver Surfer, but, So, anyways, Deadpool takes Francis. Colossus comes up and says, "No, Deadpool, don't kill him because heroism." And he gives this long rambling speech about how it would be a hero. Deadpool actually then just interrupts him by shooting him in the head.
Shooting Francis in the head. Yeah.
Shooting Francis in the head.
Which was great. Like, I actually liked the speech for what he was saying. It was interesting. At the same time, I love that Deadpool killed Francis anyway. When, like, for God's sakes, man, I'm not gonna let someone like this live. You're like, yeah, that's Deadpool. That's very Deadpool.
He says hi to his girlfriend, who he hasn't seen in like a year now, and
she slaps him for, what the hell didn't you say hi to me earlier? And you're like,
also,
he deserved that. Okay.
Also, he reveals that during this whole fight, he's had a picture of Hugh Jackman's face stapled to his own face because Deadpool.
Yeah.
She peels that off of him, and they start telling each other, the horrible shit that they've been through. Roll credits. Credits are funny because they have little cartoon Deadpools doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then the teaser at the end, where he's parodying Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the end of that. And it says that there's going to be a
I didn't recognize that was the reference. I guess.
And then he was saying, there's going to be a sequel and Cable's going to be in it. The end.
Dead.
We left out a lot of stuff.
Oh, well, we took an hour, so we still have a fair amount of stuff, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, we left out a lot of stuff from our summary of the movie. But yeah, this movie's just chock full of references, little one-off gags. Mm-hmm. If we went over all of them, we'd be here all night. And
yeah, we're not going to do that.
Pardon me for, not wanting to go over the Zootopia.
Yeah.
Or Star Wars thing.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that was Deadpool. Was it good? Was it bad? It was really good, but, it's got a dark sense of humor. So watch out for that.
So hopefully everyone who went to see Deadpool was aware of that darkness before they went to go see it. Because I'd hate to be the girlfriend he's supposedly quoting and be like, oh God, what are we looking at?
Yeah. So it's Deadpool. It's hard to talk about just because
he's like a whole little subgenre, to himself.
Yeah. It's just so silly and weird that you can't really. Yeah.
You can't say stuff doesn't make sense much when it's supposed to not make sense, and it's funny for that reason. Which is why we can manage the pod, because it wasn't particularly funny. So now it becomes something to mention. Mm-hmm. Everything else that doesn't make sense is like, yeah, but it's Deadpool. So clearly.
Yeah.
There you are.
So go watch Deadpool. It's currently out on DVD or Blu-ray, or DVD and Blu-ray, depending on which version you get.
Or HD DVD if you're a time traveler in a different universe, where that one won the format war.
Well, why would you need to be a time traveler if it won the format wars?
I don't know, actually. I'm sure Cable will explain that to you. He comes from a universe where HD DVD became the thing.
Jeez. So, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I think we said it all.
I think that's about it. All right, good movie.
Okay. Anyways, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're signing off.